Thank you, Spencer. I appreciate you, man. As he said, I'm Cannell Cuffey. You guys have seen me before if you've ever watched Light the Fire in the past. But I'm here with the incomparable Kristin Holt, who did abandon Spencer.
I did.
And Kathyrn Gratton. I'm so excited to chat with you ladies today. I mean, what a great first segment with that roundtable panel discussion. Now we get the fun part, right?
Yeah.
We're the hip young ones in the group.
In the lounging.
In the lounge. Melody is young, but we're here. Yeah. So what are some of your takeaways from the roundtable discussion?
Yeah, I think that, a huge takeaway is that it's okay to fail, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I was just telling Kathyrn earlier, I think that as young leaders and really starting out in business, we take it so catastrophically when we fail or someone tells us that we failed, and we internalize it, right? And then we start building plans outside of that, of what we internalize, to say, I can't do that again. I can't fail again. And one thing that I heard from the roundtable is when Chris said systematically failing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what does that look like? And, some people will choose the same behavior over and over and over again, sometimes self-sabotaging, but other times just because they're not learning from the first time. Right. And I think that however many times that you need to fail, it's either not for you after you fail so many times, right? Coming to that conclusion, hey, this is not for me and I am not for that, and being okay with that, or saying, what do I actually need to learn from this? And it's time to learn from that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I thought it was kind of cool that they talked about the support system being the one to say, hey, you might need to pack this up.
It's time to go.
Yeah. My wife, Kendra, she's always like, hey, that's not working anymore.
Wait. What were you just telling us about football?
Oh,
Please
yeah.
share that, please.
Okay, so I like to beat up my body a little bit. I used to play flag football in the Hagerstown area, and I say more tackle while reaching for the flag. So I would come back home every game like really unable to walk sometimes, crawling.
You left that part
out?
out.
Like all that stuff, right? So my wife was like, hey, I don't think you should be playing football anymore. And of course the competitor in me is like,
what do you mean?
Yeah, like what?
Yeah.
That's what I do.
Yeah.
But I had to take it to heart, and I'm like, you know what? Our kids are getting older.
Yeah.
My body's gonna break down too much, and I want to be able to enjoy their time.
Sure.
And you know what? The wife said no.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day.
Yeah. So like knowing when to give up and knowing that giving up is not failure.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I had my time.
Throwing
right?
in the towel, right?
Yeah, and I had my time, and that's the thing is like, I put in the effort, and she was like, hey, I think it's time to wrap it up. I mean, that even happened with me with real estate.
Yeah.
So at some point, I had so many different pathways of trying to make money.
I was going to ask you if you were still doing that. Okay.
Yeah, no. And we sat down, and she was like, hey, I think you need to cut one of these things out of your life.
Sure.
And I was like, okay, let's work together on this.
Yeah.
And she was like, hey, I think real estate's the thing. And I was like, all right, let me think about it. Came to the conclusion. I was like, she's right.
Yeah.
Because she's looking at it from an outside perspective.
Sure.
I'm looking at it from an emotional standpoint where it's like, I started this. I don't want to give that up, right? Yeah. I'm connected to this because I put in the time personally. But she's like, hey, I see what this is doing to your emotions, your energy level, what you're bringing to us as a family.
Sure.
Like, I think it's time to let it go.
And to have someone there to tell you that, like, and you just said something. You said like when you're really attached to it or involved in it. So like, how do you let something go when you're emotionally attached to it, but it's not for you? Like, have you done that?
Oh yeah. I mean, I've had in the past, one of the things whenever I talk with like, especially aspiring entrepreneurs, I tell them before you even have the business thought, the first thought is, how do I talk to my loved ones, my friends, my family, and have that support system there? Because those are the people who are going to notice when you burn out.
Yeah. Before
you realize that you're slumped over a table at 3 a.m. going, I need to get this done.
Yeah.
They're gonna know that point you hit beforehand.
For sure.
Like in my family, my husband, he will know when I'm reaching my breaking point well before, and he can go, it's okay, we're hitting a redhead level right now. Down.
But having people say time, right? Time and capacity.
Oh my God.
So like having people in your life to be like, do you really have the time and capacity for that?
Correct. Correct.
Yeah.
And I love that you said the redheaded moment, right? Because our spouses and our close loved ones, they can recognize those changes, those tweaks. And we were talking about earlier, emotional intelligence, right? And we were kind of relating that to the corporate world. So
it took me 30 something years to know what emotional intelligence was and the importance of it.
Yeah.
So a lot of times people think that emotional intelligence is restricting your emotions, but it's really knowing how to deal with an emotion as it arrives to you and process it in the moment.
Yes, yeah. And I can say I'm talking to two ladies, so I'll be honest. I have a 5-year-old daughter, and I struggle with my daughter's emotions because they're far different from what from mine, right? She's my guts, intelligence level, everything else. Yeah. She's me, but she's definitely an emotional child, right?
That's what we are.
Right.
Yeah. It's okay to say it, Canal.
So I've had to learn how to, kind of teach her in those moments and try to keep my emotional intelligence in check at the same time too, right? Because I'm trying to teach her, hey, you may feel this way, but your actions don't need to line up with that, right? Your actions need to be positive, and I'm trying to reinforce that. But at the same time, my stress level could be going up too. So as a father, thank God I have a daughter because she's teaching me how to be a lot stronger in those high emotional moments. Yes. And I think that's a big thing, and I'm going to relate this to corporate America, right? Is we need filtration systems for people to be able to take that raw emotion and actually sift through what people are really asking for. Because I think that
it's still important.
It is.
Whether we feel emotion or not, it's still important why we're feeling the emotion or what we're feeling and why it needs to be heard.
That's right.
And there's points where you also just need to embrace the emotion and let it out. So we actually just had this happen the other night. My daughter, she's 15. She's not doing the best in Spanish class right now. Bombed a big test. Oh. We get the grade notifications. One of the worst things in the world, that app where it
Why
tells
would
you,
they do that?
Oh my, I am so thankful that did not exist in my day.
Yeah. And you get home and your parents are like, so what'd you get on that test? And you're like,
I didn't even get a chance to lie to you.
They took that away from them. Yeah. But she bombed it. And we're like, what happened? And
failure.
As soon as we hit that, boom, cheers. And just, John is sitting there and he's like, you got to process this. I'm like, just let her go. Let her have the moment. Let her embrace. Let her go back to her room. Next day we're having a talk. I'm like, what was that? What? She's like, I put everything into it. And
oh, wow. So what about when you put everything into it and you still fail?
That's right.
So she had to, and I was just like, okay, you freaked your dad out. There's a lot of emotion. But, I wanted her to know it was okay to have that moment.
Yeah.
And especially when you're with trusted ones, to
Sure.
say, I want that raw, vulnerable moment, had that breakdown. Because that's another part of it. I don't think we see so much strong stoic types that we don't realize there has to be messy breakdown types and having a balance of those two.
We just said vulnerability.
Yeah.
That's one thing that I took from the roundtable today, to just see leaders who have come before me, right, or who have been in business for a long time. I'm coming up on 2 years.
Congrats.
Thank you, April 20th. And to see leaders that have come before me be so vulnerable, right, it gives me not just inspiration, but almost the right to know that it's okay, right, to be vulnerable in the moment, that failing is not final.
That's right.
No pun intended. No. But it really isn't. Again, we take it so catastrophically. I just remember being so young and when a boss would say to me, like, you did not do well, and I would be in the same emotion of like, what do you mean? Like, I put my 100% into this, it's not good enough. And to have someone say to you, your 100% wasn't good enough, because I don't believe that was your 100%, but we believe it's our 100%.
Yep.
Somewhere in there is the real message, and I think that it's calling us as leaders to a higher place, and it's okay for us to say to each other, step it up. What do I message you all of the time?
Yep. Yeah, you say it all the time.
Step it up, Canal,
yeah.
on your social media
That's right.
presence, right? Because I believe in your messaging and your business, and you just need that support system around you to know, like, it's okay, just keep going.
That's right.
Yeah.
And I can say that with 100,
Yeah.
And I can say that, I'm going to look at the camera and say this. I suck at social media, okay? But I have the intelligence enough to know that I can leverage a relationship, and I'm
Sure.
going to get into that, right?
Yeah.
With someone who knows far more than me that can keep me in my place and kick me in my butt when I need it. And I think that
it's
that's so
important.
crucial.
Yes, relationships.
It is.
They're important, and developing those relationships along the way and learning from each other. You know, something I said upstairs is be teachable. It's really a motto I have at Captivated, is to be teachable. And, you know, when someone says your content isn't good enough, again, you immediately go, you know, you just want to say, what do you mean it's not good enough? I have, you know, 20 other people who are telling me that it's the best. I'm getting all these testimonials about how I'm a problem solver and a great strategist, and you take it as a blow. But then when you really sift through those emotions, right, when you process it, you can look at this specific situation and say, okay, what does Kristin need to learn from this? How does Kristin become a better content creator?
Exactly.
It doesn't matter if she's good or good enough, but I think, remembering the small things. That's something that I took from Melody, remembering the small things and being okay with doing the small things every day.
Absolutely. So let me ask you then. At the core of every leader, I personally believe, is the ability to work through failure, right?
Yes.
What do you think is a good message for any young leader today to understand, like, the places that they're going to fail, understanding how to overcome that, and kind of embracing that failure?
I mean, with young leaders, getting them to understand the teachable moments, the growth through the pain.
That's a challenge I see.
Big. Like, you're not immediately hitting that CEO level of expertise. It's growing through it. It's learning from those below you, those with you, those above you, all mixing in there, taking that message forward. And when you're relaying the painful parts as a leader to others you're working with, it's working on those communication skills.
Yes.
And learning cues on how those, when you interact with others, you're not delivering the message the same way each time. Where you don't process the emotion as much, you know, another might, like my daughter processes. So I have to, you have to cater those messages to different ones. It can't be a unit. And that's, I know from my career and my journey through my different, you know, roles, that's been one I've learned between leaders and managers that I've had. My leaders, they spoke to me. My managers spoke at me.
Yes.
So good.
Yes.
And yeah.
That's a
They got
whole other
different
subject
results.
we could go into.
They got different results from me based upon
Yeah.
how that
Yeah.
was delivered.
Yeah.
So
I love that, because I can actually say the two places that I'll say this. There's really one place that I've failed, and it breaks off into two things in my life as a leader, and that's in relationships, whether it was honoring a relationship or leveraging a relationship. Those are really the two places that I believe that I have failed. You know, doing a task, yes, you're going to fail, but I don't consider that, for me, failure.
Sure.
And what I mean by honoring a relationship is this, like, and I talk about this to college kids. I think there's different levels of relationships. And at one level, I say there needs to be shared suffering, right? So a leader needs to be able to step into the world of their follower or their employee and come alongside them in their suffering to really understand who they are and to really help them work through it. Because you really find out who someone is in that moment. You find out who you are, and you can both grow together. And whenever I was a young leader, I didn't leverage that shared suffering, right? If someone was messing up at work, or if someone didn't do it the right way, I wasn't stepping in with them to say, hey, what's going on at home? What's going on here? Hey, is it just an issue at work? We can work through that together too, but I'm going to come alongside you and help you do that. But now that I've gotten a little bit older, a little bit wiser, I'm like, oh, suffering's happening? Let me run to it. Right?
Don't run from it, right?
Yeah, because the leader needs to run to it. And then the other part about leveraging relationships is understanding how to say, hey, I'm not good at this job. Can you help fill in that gap? Or, hey, I can't see my blind spots. Can you tell me where I'm wrong? Because I'm the type of person, if you're going to correct me, just tell me straight up. Like, tell me, hey, take the emotion out of it. Say, hey, you suck at this.
Yeah.
This is what you need to get better.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, like,
Yeah.
you can tell me anything and I'll be like, okay,
Yes.
you're right?
Yeah.
I'm not going to run away from that. But, you know, really being able to tap into that and say, hey, I'm going to leverage this relationship so that not only I get better, but we as a group can get better too. So those are the two places I think that me, and I'm always going to keep failing there, right? But that's where I think that I'm learning how to really
check out this craziness that's about to come out. But you know, something that I go in and teach businesses, whether they're new or they've been in business for, you know, 7 years or 10 years, is that it's not about you. Right? And this is geared towards marketing and branding. However, recently I've learned to apply it to real life. Now it comes back tenfold though. So you come in and you teach that it's not about you, it's about your customers or your clients. Your product or service is the guide, right? You are the guide getting them to the solution. All right? And in that is relationship building, because it goes internal to the organization for you to know it's not about you, it's about the other person inside of your organization, and you guys should be able to learn from each other and to step into each other's roles at any given moment. It doesn't mean that you have to love to do it or like to do it, but you should be able to support each other in that way. Now, through me teaching this, I gained some type of PTSD of not putting my face to my brand, right? Because I'm telling everybody else that it's not about you, it's about your client. But there's a fine level or line there of people being able to identify if it is a strategist telling you that, then when people are looking for that strategist, they should see the face to the name. But I wanted to be hidden for so long because there was a layer of me that felt that it would be what did you say earlier? Superficial or vain to put my face to the name. But people were hungry for that. So I said, oh, wow. Sometimes when you teach something, it comes back to smack you directly in the face because you're not applying what you're teaching. And I think that, you know, people will look at that as a failure, right? Well, how can you teach these things and not do them yourself? But we're human. We're human. Sometimes we need it to come back and smack us in the face.
We do.
Yeah.
We do.
I did the same with my time management.
Yeah.
It was, you know, I used to go everywhere, be at all the events and all over the place and connect and da-da-da-da-da. Yeah. My home life, it was like my kids got the weekend carved out for mom time and didn't build that relationship. So, like, if there was one gift out of the whole pandemic shutdown of being home, time to just refocus energies and stuff. And then when we rolled into 2022, I was, you know what? Priority is
you're not going to give that space
home
up.
life, this and that. Yeah. It goes on the calendar. I tell the kids, I'm like, you put stuff in the calendar, I will work around yours.
Wow.
That's amazing.
You've worked around me for a number of years. Wow. Let's work around. And now with my business and all my stuff, it's no, they go first, then the other end.
Teach me all the ways.
Yes.
My
Senpai.
My Outlook and Google Calendars and everything, and we're all on iPhones, so it's like the family shared calendar, and those biggest lifesaver. I'm making it possible.
That's super
but
healthy. Oh my God. See, I could talk to you ladies forever,
I know.
right? I mean, like, I think, you know what? We should probably keep this going.
Maybe
right?
we should.
Like at some.
Do you think we should?
I think we should.
Yeah.
Let's plan that. I think we're gonna make this.
Time.
Yeah, we're gonna schedule time to have these kind of chats with people.
Yes.
Because I think it's really healthy. The Leaders Lounge, I think, is a good idea for us.
It's a safe space to be vulnerable and to learn from each other. So I wonder who we're gonna invite on, Kano.
We'll figure that out, right?
Yeah.
But I just want to say thank you to everyone that's watched this. You know, Kristin, Kathyrn, and I, we really do have a heart for leadership. We have a heart for teaching, and this is what we do every day. We teach people, we lead people, and we want to see you do the same thing. So thank you to everyone that was watching. And now we're going to go back to Spencer, because he has something else to say.
Back to you, Spence.